Is the 2026 FIFA World Cup a dream or a foregone conclusion for Nigerians? That is how we'll start the show today. Welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolise. I'm excited to grace your screens. Once again, we have a lot in store for you on the show. Remember, I do this in company of my homeboy, Bankole Oladuni. From football to tennis to Formula One, it is a jam-packed show. Fasten your seatbelt because we have something in store for you. And for Tipstars, club football returns this weekend. We have a couple of games lined up for you on the Tipstars Corner. All of this made possible by Sports Pizza. Let's go on a short break. When we return, we'll set the ball rolling. Welcome back. It's my pleasure to introduce Bankole Oladuni once again on set. Bankole, how you doing?
Welcome. Edwin, it's good to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Fingers crossed, Super Eagles of Nigeria at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Bankole, we cannot afford to miss back-to-back World Cup.
No, we can't. I mean, it's something that would have a lot of butterfly effects, not just for the Super Eagles, but also for journalists who are looking to cover Super Eagles in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Also for businesses who would use the opportunity to run campaigns. So whenever Super Eagles, whenever Nigeria qualifies for the World Cup, it's always a big deal. Because there are several things that we tend to benefit from that event. From that particular event. So I think a lot of people just narrow it down to, we're not going to watch the Super Eagles on our screens, but there are a lot of things behind the scenes that we would actually enjoy, if the Super Eagles get to United States, Canada, and Mexico.
Before we get to the World Cup, there's a small matter of the AFCON in December, and you watched the performance of the Super Eagles under this current manager, Eric Chell. All things being equal, he will be the manager going to the AFCON. Now, you compare our performance with the likes of Morocco, Senegal, Egypt, Algeria. Have we progressed, regressed, or stagnated since we played at the final of the AFCON?
I think we've stagnated. So first of all, in terms of player quality, we are nowhere close to these guys. Let's not kid ourselves. You might have the Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman back-to-back half player of the year. But in terms of having a team, we are nowhere close to these guys.
Individual quality?
Yes, individual qualities all across board. From defense, from goalkeeper to...
Who are the starting players for Senegal, Morocco,
Senegal, there's
Algeria,
there's Iliman Ndiaye, there's Iliman Ndiaye.
Yeah, we know them.
There's Sadio Mane, there's So what I'm saying is,
those are also names that are past their best. Bankole.
When you look at Senegal, Edouard Mendy is better than Sterling Wabali. He is.
That is an argument that
Kalidou Koulibaly.
Is this Edouard Mendy of the Champions League?
Kalidou Koulibaly is also a better defender than whatever we have to offer. Yes.
Bankole, I'm saying this.
Yes.
On
the right back.
These are names.
The right back who just signed from West Ham.
Yeah.
Malik Diouf.
That's the left back.
The left back. He's a right back. He's a right back. He's just signed for West Ham from Sparta Prague. He's also one of the best fullbacks in the league so far. So you look at all of this in midfield. There's Nampes Mendy. There are couple.
No, Bankole, like I said. These are maybe with the exception of Morocco, I will agree with you. Like Morocco,
not just Morocco, even Egypt,
Senegal, even Egypt, Morocco.
And the worst thing about Egypt,
they have top players.
These are guys. No, these are guys. The keeper El Neni is a better goalkeeper than Nwabali. Their defense, we saw them play at the Club World Cup, Edwin, and they didn't look entirely out of place for Alakli. They didn't look entirely out of place.
This is Super Eagles of Nigeria.
But the Super Eagles of Nigeria, you look at the players
at the higher level.
Come on.
He plays at a higher level than whatever Egypt have in defense.
Let's not.
Olajuwon is arguably top 3 right back.
Quality. We are nowhere close.
So make your case.
We are nowhere close to Morocco, Senegal, Egypt, and so even Cote d'Ivoire have better players than us. So before we now start to put ourselves in a prism of favorites ending into the AFCON, we need to know that we have to humble ourselves first of all. We are nowhere close to these guys. We brag about, we have players playing in the Premier League. Are they good enough? I look at Alex Iwobi, I look at Samuel Chukwueze, I look at Moses Simon, I look at Franco Yeka. You look at our defense, Benjamin Frederick, Oyedika, Rafael Oyedika. You look at all of these guys and my goodness, like it's Chidozie Awaziem in our squad. It is. Look, Edwin, I get your point. Maybe the gap is not as large as I'm making it.
There's no gap between Senegal, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Egypt, maybe Morocco.
There is.
I can agree with Morocco.
There is a gap. There is a gap in terms of individual quality all around the team. In comparison, we have the best striker in Africa, in Victor Osimhen, and probably Ademola Lookman. But anything aside from that, we are bang average. So heading into the World Cup, we are relying on a manager whose biggest highlight is a meme on the internet. I don't think you look at Eritrea and the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh, he's one of the best tactical minds in Africa. No, he's not. We saw him with Mali, a Malian team who, on the same level, probably have the same individual quality as Nigeria. And we saw what he couldn't do with that team. Are we expecting him to perform miracles with the Super Eagles? I don't think so. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give him the chance to get into the AFCON, because we saw it with the last manager and Ose Pasero, and how he came up with a tactical innovation maybe not tactical innovation, but he came up with a tactical approach, to get us to the final. At the final, individual quality failed us, but at least we knew that our coach was able to negate a couple of our weaknesses.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Eric Chell can also do something like that. But I look at our team, and there are about 4 or 5 teams that you pick ahead of Nigeria into the AFCON.
All right, before we leave the home scene, a quick one from the MPFL. Back-to-back wins for Remo Stars has seen them ascend to the summit of the table. Victorious at second. Bayelsa United are third with 6 points, while Warriors complete the top 4 with 6 points. Also, at the bottom 4, you have Barao, Kano Pillars, Kun Khalifa, and Plateau United, who are yet to register a point in the new season. Standard results for me. I thought Nasarawa United getting a point at Enyimba was an impressive one. Bankole.
Yeah, it was. It's never easy going to the People's Elephant home ground to pick up a point. Enyimba, one of the biggest teams in the country, and for Nasarawa United, to go away, to hold their own against Enyimba is something you'd have to applaud them for. So yeah, I think that has to be a standard result. I'm also very impressed with Remo Stars. I think it is rare to see a defending champion start the season well. Because most of the time you have a lot of players who would have left the shores of Nigeria. You'd have a couple of transfers that would have gone on between the team and other teams in the NPFL. So, but to see Remo Stars maintain their level, they dropped points on the first match against Rivers United as expected. Seeing how they had a couple of players still recovering from the CHAN tournament, and they lost their captain, to an Iraqi side. And you look at how they still managed to pick up where they left off from last season. So I think I've been impressed with Remo Stars also. Hopefully, they would also give us a good campaign, and also on the continent.
And yes, they did it without their manager, Daniel Ogumodede, who is on national team assignment. Barao and Benin Insurance played out a 1-1 draw. Niger Tornadoes defeated Bayelsa United by a lone goal. El Kanemi and Rivers United played out a goalless draw. Kwara United defeated Kun Khalifa 2-0. Rangers defeated Plateau United by 2-0. Katsina United defeated Kano Pillars by a lone goal. Wiki Tourist defeated Continental team Abia Warriors by a lone goal. And Shooting Stars played out a 1-1 draw with Ikorodu City. All right, Bankole, we leave the shores of Nigeria. We head straight to Europe, where we saw a couple of World Cup qualifiers. The standout team so far has been Spain. Absolutely.
They look like the favorites for the World Cup already. You look at the synergy between the players. And it is quite surprising, because you don't have a majority of the players coming from Barcelona like they used to, or from Real Madrid. It's spread around the La Liga, and also a couple from the Premier League. And it is also interesting to see the level at which they've maintained the cohesion between the players. And the most important thing is they've kept it very simple. No exuberance. The only person who complicates things is Yamal, and you know why? Because he's capable of doing it. You watch Pedri, you look at how he keeps things sticking, look at how he controls games. You look at that Spanish national team and you can't pinpoint a weakness. Defensively, they are up there. Goalkeeping, they have options. David Raya is on the bench. Unai Simon, also one of the best goalkeepers in the Spanish La Liga. Up front, maybe the number 9 position, but who needs the number 9 if you have Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, banging in goals? You have Mikel Merino, scoring in from midfield. So I think if you are looking for a team who has probably the best starting 11, maybe it's Spain. I struggle to look at any other national team who can compete with this team that I'm looking at. Spain. No, not England.
Portugal?
No, nah, I don't think so.
Is Pedri the best midfielder in the world?
Is Pedri the best? It is difficult to argue against him. It is difficult to argue against Pedri.
Do you have any name?
If I want to call names, I'll probably look at João Neves at PSG. It's one of the names that I would put forward.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Vitinha?
Vitinha. I'm not a big fan of Vitinha, especially when you compare him to Pedri. I think Pedri does everything he does and more to a higher level. No disrespect to Vitinha, but I think it's the same ilk as Pedri. But Pedri is always doing it at a higher level than Vitinha. You take away Pedri and you put him in any other team, I think he replicates that. You take away Vitinha from PSG, I don't think so. I don't think so.
So I think
so.
the difference between both is that Pedri gives you a bit of goals in the final third. I think beyond that, I think he's on the same tier with Vitinha.
No,
but I'll put Pedri ahead of him. Because Pedri can give you that odd 1 or 2 goals. Vitinha is so.
I think Pedri.
No,
I think Pedri even has a lot of work to do in a Barcelona team that Vitinha has in a PSG team. Because you look at that Barcelona team, you look at the chaos in Barcelona team and the amount of work Pedri has to do in terms of controlling the tempo of the game. In comparing to a very possession-based team, a heavily possession-based team in PSG, you compare the two guys and I feel like Pedri is on another level.
All right, we can agree to disagree. Argentina qualified for the World Cup. Brazil also through to the World Cup. You have Ecuador, Colombia, Uruguay also. For Don Carlo, 3 wins in 3 games for Brazil. Kept a clean sheet.
Yeah, I think he's doing what you'd expect him to do.
Yeah.
Bringing in new names. Look at the likes of Estevao, likes of João Pedro, starting, Andre Santos. The Chelsea boys basically coming in from the bench. Wesley, who just moved to AS Roma, starting at right back. Bremer also, having a run in it seems. So I look at all of this and it's what you'd expect from Carlo Ancelotti. You don't feed these guys too much information. You let them do. They have enough quality to make the difference, all on their own. You look at what Lucas Paqueta did in that game. Look at Estevao. Look at the bicycle kick. It's all about intuition with the Brazilians. And if you want any manager who can allow them feed on that intuition, it has to be Carlo Ancelotti. So I think with Carlo Ancelotti, they probably have the best manager in equivalence to the talent and the nature of the talents that the Brazilians possess.
All right, we've come to the end of the first half of the show. We'll go on a short break. When we return, there's plenty more from tennis, Formula One, and a bit of football. Club football is back. Your favorite club sides will be in action this weekend. Don't forgetting the UEFA Champions League. Welcome back to the second half of the show. I'm sure you're having so much fun with us. It's time to talk club football. Bankole, this weekend we have a couple of games and the Champions League is back. Are you excited?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the league phase or the league format of the Champions League.
Yeah.
I had my reservations about it, but so far it has proved to be an entertaining start. It has proved to be an entertaining format. You look at a lot of big teams, going head to head. Bayern against Chelsea, PSG against Barcelona, Liverpool against Real Madrid. Even the lesser teams, you look, Chelsea will be taking on Napoli.
Yeah.
Look at all of this, and you'd lick your lips, at the prospect of the entertainments that we will be getting from these teams. If they play to their best, we would be seeing the best of football.
Okay, so let me put you on the spot. Your top 8 teams in the league phase of the Champions League.
My top 8 teams, wow.
In no particular order.
In no particular order.
Yeah.
This is quite interesting.
Okay.
So, PSG.
Okay.
Inter Milan.
Okay.
Barcelona.
3.
Liverpool.
4.
Arsenal.
5.
Bayern.
6.
Let me sneak in Chelsea in there.
7.
And finally.
No Real Madrid?
Real Madrid.
No Man City?
Nah, no. Nah.
All right, away from football, Bankole, we head straight to the United States of America, Flushing Meadows. It was Carlos Alcaraz who exacted revenge against his rival, Jannik Sinner. 4 sets. These are the 2 best players on tour. But I think personally that when he's at his best, when he's not distracted, when he's not playing to the gallery, when he's not trying some fancy tricks, Carlos Alcaraz is unplayable, even against Yannick Sinner?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the ATP and it has become a tour of two players. It has gotten so bad to the point where 38-year-old Djokovic is the third best player in the world. I saw an analogy like in the era of Messi and Ronaldo, then you have a 40-year-old Zidane being the third best player in the world. That's exactly what we are seeing, in tennis. So you look at these two guys from last year. I don't think anybody else has won a Grand Slam. It has always been Sinner, Alcaraz, Alcaraz from 2024 now to 2025, and going into 2026. It is not guaranteed that you see anybody come to spoil the party right now of these guys. So you look at Alcaraz, and I think one of my biggest problems with Alcaraz is he tries too hard to come off as a flair type player.
Yeah.
He tries too hard to come up as someone who wants to play to the crowd, someone who wants to entertain. Sometimes tennis is not the game of tennis is already entertainment on its own.
Yeah.
You don't have to force it. And whenever he gets serious, whenever you look at him, whenever he locks in, he's unplayable. He's the best player in the world. He's one of the best players of all time.
Already?
Yes.
With 6 Grand Slams.
6 Grand Slams.
Singles title.
And probably at least he's going to get another 2 next year. And he's 21. He still has at least 5-7 years to go to win, to amass to the likes of Novak Djokovic, Federer. And when you look at the quality around him also, there is nobody aside from Sinner who can compete with him. So he has an easier way to amass these Grand Slams. So I look at Alcaraz, I look at the way he plays, when he needs to ramp things up, when he needs to be physically intense, when he needs to slow down, when he needs to control games, he does that. And Sinner is also a very good tennis player.
Fantastic.
I think he's unlucky to have a player like Alcaraz playing at the same moment with him. But you can't look beyond Alcaraz as one of the best.
Should Novak retire?
I don't think so. If I was Novak, I wouldn't retire. When I know that the only 2 players who are better than me, I can still find my way to a couple of ATP tours, ATP 1000 Masters, and win. Because Alcaraz and Sinner do not necessarily go to all these ATP 1000s. They don't even put on their best foot, in most of these tournaments.
And 3-setter, not a 5-setter.
Yeah, exactly. So I look at Djokovic. You look at the people behind him. He's going to take on Zverev. He's going to defeat Zverev easily. Them Tsitsipas, them Dominic Thiem. All these guys are guys who can't touch Djokovic, even at the age of 38 years old. So I don't think I would retire. Maybe when it gets to the point of me, losing my ability, from competing with these 2 guys, and then I'm getting defeated in the first round, second round, then I can retire. But you're still looking at the player who's getting to the semi-finals, who could have gotten to the finals if he had played Felix. So you look at all of this. I'll still remain in the game.
All right, from the United States of America, we'll head straight to Italy, where it was the Italian Grand Prix. Not so much success for Ferrari, the Italian team again. But Max Verstappen from nowhere got the fastest pole position in F1 history, converted that pole position to lead, and from then on, it was a smooth race for him. His first win since 1 billion years ago for McLaren.
Yeah, and for Monza it's always difficult, whenever you have the pole position, the corners are tricky, to navigate. So with Max Verstappen, a driver who is one of the best drivers, regardless of the car, he's one of the best drivers in the Formula 1. It's always easier for him to control, for him to defend his lead. So but it's always nice to see Mad Max win, even though we know it's a consolation win. He's never going to catch up to the McLaren boys who are well away, with the title. But going forward, hopefully this would spring a bit of competition, for Max Verstappen. But for Ferrari, I think it's a lost cause. This season is done and dusted. They brought in Lewis Hamilton, but it doesn't look like it will change anything going forward. As long as they still have the same problems with their car, they still have the same problems with their engineering team, Ferrari would always be behind, the McLarens of this world, the Red Bulls of this world, the Mercedes, of this world.
All right, guys, we need to go on a short break. We'll give you our video for the week. When we return, it is the Tipsters Corner. We have 2 games lined up for you from the English Premier League and the Italian Serie A. Of course, if you're a Carlos Alcaraz fan, you will watch the replay of that game, but not so much excitement for Yannick Sinner
Yeah,
fans.
I mean, he's a Milan fan like myself, so I always find myself rooting for him. But yeah, you sometimes just have to, acknowledge the better player.
Yeah, definitely, Bankole, you have to acknowledge the better player. And we also have to acknowledge that we have two big games coming up this weekend. They are both derby games in Italy. It is the Derby d'Italia, Juventus versus Inter Milan at the Juventus Arena. And at the Etihad, it is Manchester City versus Manchester United. What should punters look out for?
So for Juventus against Inter Milan, a Juventus team that's gone under the radar. I don't think a lot of people have earmarked Juventus for the Scudetto title, which I think can be a bit unfair. I think you look at that Juventus team, they have quietly done good business, especially in attack. You have Loic Openda, you have Zegrova, you have Conceição, who is also, Dusan Vlahovic coming off from the bench. Jonathan David. So they probably have the best attacking roster, in the league. The only problem they have is in defense and also creativity from midfield. If Kepren Thuram gets injured, nobody, can step into that play. Locatelli is not the player he was, at the Euros a couple of years ago. But in defense, Bremer is a good thing. Bremer is back. We saw him in the game against Genoa. He was a leader at that back. But when you have Bremer and then you have Lloyd Kelly, you have Kalulu, you have Gatti, you have maybe Cambiaso from left back. Seems like the only decent, quality in defense. I think we would probably see a Juventus goal in this game. Inter Milan have looked all over the place. Like I've always said, I've never been impressed. I've never been convinced by Christian Kivu's ability to coach this Inter Milan team. We saw it against Udinese. It crumbled. I think Juventus will score. Maybe a Juventus double chance.
Okay. I hope.
Seeing how Inter Milan might have the lesser odds, we might go with a away team to win nil. To win, but so you look at that and I think Juventus would pick up something from this game. And for the Manchester derby, now this is where it gets tricky. So I think this is the derby where you can clearly say you can throw form out of the window, but what is the form to even throw out of the window? These are two guys who have been atrocious. Man United maybe slightly better, seen as they defeated Burnley, but I think we'll see goals. Okay, I think both teams to score might be something you have to consider. Over 2.5 also. Both teams to score and over 2.5 might be something. United might have a new goalkeeper, but I still think they'll concede goals. I think I'll be struggling to go with a straight win for either of this team or double chance for either of this team. You cannot rely on either of these teams to
just goals.
Both teams to score and over 2.5.
There you have it. Just go for the goals option. And for Juventus Inter Milan, Bankole said Juventus to score at home. A possible outcome is a Juventus double chance. That is the home team to win or draw. Before we wrap up the show, let me tell you that Sports Pizza is not responsible for any bet loss. We only give you expert opinions on possible outcomes of this game. Always ensure that you bet responsibly. And this is where we call it a day on the show. I've had so much fun. I'm sure you also did. Always a pleasure doing this with my homeboy Bankole.
Edwin, it's always a pleasure to be here. And from me to our viewers, have yourself a lovely day. Yeah,
club football is back. Champions League is back. Do have fun over the book of games coming up this weekend. And remember to always like, follow, and interact with us on our social media platform. For me, Edwin Onyebolise, do have a fantastic sporting week.